My goodness.
All right. My name is Dr. Cordie Williams, Health from Within Family Wellness Center, and also 1776 Forever Free. And that's the big reason why we're here today. And we have a special, amazing, beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated. I could do like an introduction for like 10 minutes about this woman because her reputation precedes her, Dr. Chris Northrup. And your first name, Dr. Northrup, I've been calling you Chris because you said Chris, and then we went
Chris
Cordie. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But just a humble, amazing, beautiful woman.
Christiane, you know, the grand name, Christiane.
Oh, yeah. And see, I'm from Alabama, so.
Or Christian. I mean, Christian.
Oh, I love that. There you go.
I just tell people it's the religion with an E on the end.
I love that. Absolutely. Well, you know, we connected over the internet, and I was really flattered because one day, basically, you know, the backstory on this, guys, is Dr. Northrup saw my video. And despite that it was profanity laced at times because of the situation that was going on, she left this just most amazing, flattering, beautiful little, I guess, I don't know, you talked about me for a period of time, and I was just listening to it, and like your words and your adjectives, and you know, I was completely, I told my wife, I was blending a shake. I remember when she was playing it for me, and she's like, honey, look what Dr. Northrup said about you. And I was literally almost in tears. And I'm one of those guys. I watch, you know, Forrest Gump, and I'm in tears. Like I'm that guy. I'm like the Hallmark movie where it's really bad acting and I'm in tears, right? Like that's completely me.
Well, here's the truth about men. Men are far more sensitive on the inside. They're tough on the outside. Women are sensitive on the outside, but we're tough as nails on the inside. And it would really be helpful if we all knew that about ourselves. You know, I mean, I think about it. Okay, so let's just think about how it is with the heart. With the heart, a man's heart is kind of hidden. A woman has the breast, so her heart is like the breast. They come out at you. So we're very sort of yang loving. With a man, it takes a while to get into his heart. Now with a woman in the sexual area, it's exactly the opposite. Her stuff's all inside, the man's is all outside. So it's an interesting dualism. But when we have a guy like you who has the courage to stand up the way you did, there isn't a real woman in the world, or someone who identifies with the feminine, who doesn't feel instantly protected and safe. And that is what we need, because right now people are scared to death because the product of the mainstream media is not a virus, folks. It's fear. It's fear. Yeah. And boy, you got to congratulate them. If you wanted to spread contagion, they have done a very good job, starting with their frickin' mainstream media narrative about the measles outbreak in Disney. Now, I was on the front lines of trying to reverse the vaccine mandate in our state of Maine. So I went up to the legislature. Like, I don't know, you probably have not done a lot of demonstrations. You've been helping people. You've been a doctor. I've been a doctor. I'm not political. I'm an independent. So I figure, oh, you know, come on, people. Maine has a 95% voluntary vaccination rate. You're not seeing outbreaks of anything. We don't need this. And people just want the ability to do an individualized schedule, and maybe this and a little of that. And can we do it not 6 at once? I'm up there in the legislature, and I am beyond, I'm blown away. I thought I was in the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it's gotten worse since then. And so it's going to take some people like you standing up literally in public. Like, we got a guy up in Bethel, Maine, who just opened his restaurant. He said, come and get me. Just come. We need that. If we all did that, how many of us are there? How many of them are there? And then when you hold those police officers accountable, hey guys, you took an oath to protect the Constitution, and you're going after a pastor and women with a billy club? How do you sleep at night? See, That's what we need.
Mm.
You're a doctor. I'm a doctor. I took an oath. First, do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
And as a surgeon, informed consent.
Yep.
So now you go in, with your little kid and you say, gee, can you tell me, what's in those 6 vaccines you're giving? And has anyone ever been harmed? Oh, no, there's no informed consent. Now, in the medical profession of pediatrics, you're actually judged. It's like a Yelp rating.
Yeah.
You're judged how good a doctor you are by the number of vaccines you give, like
Wow.
how compliant you are with the schedule. And I look at my colleagues and I say, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Look
Yeah.
at the package insert. So
And
frankly, in my opinion, this whole pandemic is about nothing except getting everyone universally vaccinated, tracking, tracing. That's our governor's plan to reopen our state. Now, Maine, everyone
yeah.
makes their money 3 months in the summer. Oh no, she's got, you can't come in unless you quarantine for 2 weeks. People come from Boston, New York for long weekends. Who's going to
Yeah.
come quarantine in their hotel room for
For
2
2
weeks
weeks.
and then go have their lobster? This makes, and then, oh, here's their big plan. Oh, this is how we're going to open up. Okay. We're going to track and trace. And so they're hiring people, that whole, I mean, you can't even believe that there is such a thing as HR 6666. Please. I just heard, now this is not verified, except I have a friend in the legislature. She says, here's how they're going to do it for restaurants. You want to go to a restaurant to eat, you got to make a reservation. Then they're going to send all the names of the diners to the government.
Wow.
So we're coming up with all kinds of names that we will make the reservations on. My daughter's favorite is Farty McButts.
Farty McButts. I like that. And
Yeah.
that's an interesting point, because I think that's really what this is all about. And that's why I love that you've really gotten on board with 1776 Forever Free and what we're doing, and really supporting what I'm about and the movement and the megaphone. Because what I always try to tell people, and obviously we're live now and this is going to be recorded, and you're going to bless me with just getting out to your audience. The megaphone, that was raw and real, and that's really who I am. And my goal is for this not to be, there's so many things that you and I agree upon. Whether somebody wants to vaccinate or they don't, I just want it to be people's choice.
Yes.
If you're red or blue, Republican, Trump, no Trump, whatever Trump, like we bleed red, white, and blue. Doesn't matter your ethnicity, your spiritual affiliation, whether you're Esther Hicks, the universe, Buddha, like whatever your deal is. I'm a Jesus guy, whatever you are. We all need to come together in red, white, and blue blood. And we need to tackle the tyranny that's happening right now.
That is exactly right. Now, if you look at the science, I mean, don't you find it interesting? Now, you had a couple guys from California who owned some medical centers. And I don't know if you know those guys. They looked like they were from your area. And they just basically looked at the data. Mm-hmm. I just watched a YouTube video from an Irish researcher who worked in Berlin and all over the place. She said, look, this virus peaked in the United States population in March 22. Now it's moved through. Most people have lifelong immunity at this point. But what are they doing? Scaring people. So we start to reopen the state. But what do you have to do? Wear a mask. If you were going to come up with a symbol of how free speech is no longer free, let's put a mask on everyone.
And a neurological trigger to scare people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not to interrupt you, but
no, but I can't decide, about the mask because I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, right? In the grocery store or whatever. But I do have this thing. Okay, you can't see this, but I'm thinking of making a t-shirt.
I love it. I was on a call with somebody walking into a gas station, and the guy's like, sir, you need to put on a mask. I said, well, I have an undisclosed ADA condition that says that I don't have to put on one. And it also says that if you ask me about it, it's $175,000 fine.
Yeah.
Or 75,000. Either one's really good, right? Right.
Yeah. 75,000 for the ADA violation and 150,000 for a subsequent violation.
So I was in the ballpark then.
Yeah. Don't ask me the second time. So I'm thinking, a sign that I could put around my neck or something, or a t-shirt just so that I announce it beforehand, although here in Maine, I've had many friends who are not wearing masks and nobody says anything. Or
Yeah.
they'll wear a mask going in and then just take it off.
Yeah.
Now,
And
here's the thing. If there were science, I had to take a friend to the
100%.
doctor a couple months ago and I had a cough. So I said, give me a mask. That makes sense. But
Yeah.
this other stuff, healthy people, did you see on Amazon, they're selling masks for babies. This is just wrong. Oh, now,
Way to kill
you
a
know,
baby too.
designer masks, right? Because
Yeah.
this is the new normal. So let's do an individualized mask. It does not, as you say, pass the sniff test. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. 50%, I think, of our microbiome is viruses.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've listened to Zach Bush. He's one of my absolute heroes. And he points out that HIV and all these other viruses are actually part of the virome. They do not cause disease
Yeah.
unless everything's out of whack. And the same with weeds, by the way, in a field of grass or whatever. When the microbiome is healthy, we're healthy. And he said this whole thing pivots on fear of death.
Yeah.
We have to get over our fear of death. And what we're doing right now with nursing homes, I listened to someone say it's euthanasia.
Yeah.
People are dying of loneliness. I have a friend who works in a nursing home. She said, no one's coming to visit these people. They're a little bit demented. They think they have been abandoned. Nobody should be dying alone. No one should
Totally
be
agree.
giving birth alone. And in Florida, one of my friends, her sister's about to give birth down there, and they've told her no one can go in with her. Listen, we've got all the data. You want the baby to be healthy? You put that baby on your skin the minute it comes out of the womb, and then it is colonized with your stuff and therefore much more immune to the bad stuff in the hospital. So at this point, I don't know what the tipping point is to wake up, but I looked and that video of yours had what, 7 million views?
Yeah, it's about to hit 6.9. I think it's 3,000 from 6.9. And so we need people to keep liking and sharing because I want Fox News to hear. I mean, I probably had 10 interviews, not even close to what you've had, you know, and your lifetime of serving freedom. But I'm the newcomer to the game. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to just get Sean Hannity, Tucker, somebody to pick it up.
Yes,
So,
yes.
because I just, you know, my big goal, and this is why I'm just so flattered to know you. You know, my big goal is freedom and choice to get that out there. Because you're right, the silent majority is like my CA, who's 24 years old. She's pregnant. Her Marine Corps Special Forces husband is deployed right now, right? And basically, they're in a situation where her grandfather was basically on his last leg. She flies up to Maine, and I mean, it'll make you cry to hear about it. She was in tears when she told me about it. There's a plastic glass case, right, that's separating her from her grandfather. And I fed my grandfather his last meal at 12.
Yes.
So, like, I know what that's like to say bye to somebody that was like a dad to you, and to do it through a glass case, or like you said, you know, I think you were telling me, or somebody was, you know, in the Marine Corps, we say no man left behind.
That was what Zach Bush said.
Yeah. What was our discussion?
He's on Del Bigtree, and he says the Marines will go through a shower of bullets to get the guy who's been wounded, and we're letting our elderly die alone from fear of a virus. Now, this, and I said, you know, on my sort of Great Awakening video series on Instagram and Facebook, when I saw your thing, I thought, okay, this is what healthy masculinity looks like, to protect and serve. You have to go through my body to get to my children. I don't, you know, and I had an interesting podcast I did with Andy Wakefield, who was, of course, smeared from here to tomorrow for just doing research on the MMR vaccine. He is one of the most soft-spoken, incredible physicians. And our discussion was, what has happened to the maternal instinct that you'll turn your kids over to medical authorities when your gut says, don't do this.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
It's like, and, you know, I've always said, and I don't want to get controversial, but, you know, we're in the process of purchasing a firearm. Cause you know, I literally have said since day one, and I get choked up thinking about it. You come for my kids. I mean, I'm not, yeah, I mean, you're going to see what you get, you know, and I don't, that's not a threat, but Americans, this country was founded on choice. 1776, it was founded on choice. So for us to say, you know, as a former Marine, for us, you know, we've got people all around the world. I love firemen, I love firefighters, you know, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. I mean, I love them all. But now for us to say that now we're going to throw all that away, and the government is going to dictate what we do, what we don't do, when we can go to a place of worship. I mean, that's just, man, it's just gotten crazy. And I agree with you. I think the awakening, like having a series about that, I mean, kudos to you for that, because that's exactly what needs to happen. People just need to wake up. I mean, there's a lot of us out there, like my viewers, your viewers, that you know, either somebody elbowed them in the side a long time ago, right? But there's a lot more people that are like asleep, right? You know, when you're asleep and you wake up and you know, you're stumbling around and you knock your toe on, you know, in my house, you knock your toe on a couple of toys.
That's right.
The Legos get right up under the calcaneus, and it's
Oh
like,
God, yes.
right, yeah. But there's people starting to wake up from this fog of war, and with all this tyranny and all this stuff, the divisiveness that was there before COVID, I think you're starting to see a real blend of, to your point, the masculine and the feminine, and people are starting to come together as Americans. It's no longer about, you know what I mean? And that's like the beauty in all this, right?
That's right. That's right. So, you know, here's the thing. When you're separated from each other the way we have been, what happens is our intuitive sense actually increases, because you're not distracted with the traffic jams, with the 9-to-5 job, with all of that. So a lot of people have had a lot of time to think. They're watching your video. They're watching my stuff. They're watching Andy Wakefield's stuff. They're watching Plandemic. They're watching Out of Shadows Official. They're watching all of this. Now, I got a couple doc friends, and one of them says, oh my God, you know, I'm just kind of a rural guy from Minnesota, and it's hard for me to believe this is happening. He was looking at, of course, the mainstream media debunking the people who are telling the truth. Right. And he said, now it's really uncomfortable. This is really uncomfortable. And I said, welcome to cognitive dissonance. We've got a whole set of videos called questioningcovid.com. They're like 47 videos from top virologists, scientists. I got a little one on there about cognitive dissonance. And that's where, okay, you spent your whole life believing that the government is going to take care of you, or that your father's a good guy, even though he's diddling your sister in the dark. You know, and you wake up and you want to throw up. For a lot of people, they can't believe this is happening. They can't believe how the mainstream media I don't know if you've ever seen that Operation Mockingbird, but when you
heard of it, haven't seen it.
Well, it's amazing, because all the mainstream media announcers say the same thing, and so when you get the stations from all over, you know, Kansas and Chicago, and they're all saying the same thing, and then they have a screen where they show them just saying the same thing, because they've been programmed to say that thing. So it's almost like I've said, if you want to know what the truth is, you've got to go to the videos that are about to get banned. Like if they were just, you know, one of the things that's funny, let's say that people say you're conspiracy theorists. Okay, so why are you taking this one down, but you're not worried about the Bigfoot ones or the flat earthers or the UFO people? No, you only seem to go with the ones that seem to threaten a narrative. Now, I like Sweden. You know what Sweden says, and South Dakota? Well, we feel that we can trust our citizens to do the right thing. Now, here's another piece of garbage, and that is, well, we let people out and you're going to see a big spike. No, you're not. Why? because I'm sure I had this thing in February. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it. A
Right.
lot of people feel that way. It was here since November.
Yeah,
It
I
goes
do as
through the
well.
population, you get immune. I mean, I understand that this thing has been planned for a long time, but it's not about an infectious disease and it's not about public health. And I knew that when I sat up there in the legislature, 3 overflow rooms of parents with vaccine injured children. They had never had so many people show up at a public hearing, not ever in the history of Maine.
Yeah,
And,
and it's funny, Doc, because quarantine takes out the herd and herd immunity, right?
well,
Like how
that's a good line.
yeah, well, and I can't coin that line. I don't know where I got it from, but I thought I was like, wow, that is perfect, because there's no herd immunity with quarantine. It totally takes out the herd, right? And well, I was listening to that, I was like, and I would totally give the person credit. I can't remember who it was, because
Right.
you just get inundated with information, right? But I heard that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that is so true. That's so true about all this, and I just go back to that feeling of just like choice, like having the freedom and choice to choose, right? Like just that's what America is founded on. So now for us to now say that, like, there's a guy, I was on Graham Ledger's show on OAN this morning, and he asked me about a guy that literally 8 minutes down the road from me in Oceanside, I'm in Carlsbad, got arrested because he opened up his gym. They called him the night before and they said, hey, if you open up your gym, you're getting arrested. He's like, well, I'm sorry. I guess you guys are taking me in. I mean, what do you expect me to do? Like,
Yeah.
I'm literally going to go bankrupt, or I'm going to open up. And like, I even saw somebody in the Facebook video. It was kind of hard to see, but in the Facebook video that I guess he posted, or somebody in his family, I reached out to him, gave him my cell. I'm like, hey buddy, any way I can support you,
Right.
and if he sees this video financially too, we'll round up some money. If you haven't gotten bailed out or whatever, just let me know. And I was going to say my cell phone number, but maybe I shouldn't do that. But you can hit me up in private message. You can private message me and I'll totally give you my cell phone number. But yeah, so then he's talking to the cops, and all the police officers, God bless them, but these are guys that haven't been influenced. They're kind of like, in Ventura County, where they said they'll come and get your children. I heard
Oh
that the
yeah.
other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, does this guy realize what he's saying? And so he was just like, why are you guys doing this? Or he said something like that. He asked the cop, like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, it's the health order. This is what the health order says. And, that just goes back to a point of, like, when I was on that megaphone, it's like, at some point we have to say, I'm now asking a mom and a dad, to your point, Chris, I'm now asking a mom or dad to not feed their family, to
Yeah.
not protect their family, to not worship their God. Like, what side of history am I on? I
Right.
took an oath to support and defend, and I don't know what the I don't know what oath police officers take, but I'm sure it's a similar one well, I mean, they all have a basis of
Right.
similarity, right? Whether it's the oath of office to be a president,
Right.
the oath that you take to become a Marine, or the Hippocratic oath, and you look at that oath, and foundationally, you're like, have we become so mechanized and computerized just to listen to higher authorities that we don't listen to our own inner higher authority, who's like our innate intelligence, God within you? Like, where have we shut that down to say, as a police officer or Marine, you know what? That order is telling me to take my billy club out and hit a woman. I'm not going to do that. Sorry. You can fire me. You can arrest
Right.
me. You can
Right.
do whatever you want, but that just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, I was listening to David Icke on London Real, and it was very interesting. The last hour was extraordinarily heartfelt. And he said, when you come from here, from the heart, he said, so they take down my YouTube channel, my Twitter channel. It's fine with me. I must be so powerful that they would just deplatform me immediately.
Wow.
But when you come from the heart, he said, I'm always taken care of, always taken care of. As soon as I come from the heart, like when these guys go, I'm not doing it. It reminds me of, even in my own life, a tiny example. My daughter was in a gifted and talented program. She's like, 6th grade. She comes home, she goes, Mom, I want to drop this. It was called Junior Great Books. The teacher is mean. Now I know my kid. So I go, okay, you can drop it. Her father, we're no longer together, says, well, we should call the other parents and we should get together. It's like, no, my kid, who I trust, says this teacher's mean. That's all I need to know. So I slipped her a note behind her father's back, and she got out of the class the next day because she did the right thing and I did the right thing. All these other kids told their parents the same thing. The teacher was fired within a week.
Wow.
It takes one person. And, you know, it's never crowded on the leading edge. I mean, I've got so many arrows in my head, you can't even believe it. I mean, you know, I've been on the, people have said, we had people even writing into my publisher, Hay House, has her platform been hacked? Has her Facebook page been hacked? No. This is who I've been forever. I've told you about mammograms. I've told you about circumcisions. I've told you about Gardasil. This is who I am. The only difference now is I'm not working for a medical system and I'm not trying to keep my license. You know, so now gloves are off, man.
Wow.
Noose is off the neck.
Wow.
I don't have anything to lose.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
That's so great. Because it's like my friend, Dr. Billy DeMoss, he's a personal friend and a huge mentor and influence of mine. You know, one of the things we've been saying, and he's part of 1776 Forever Free as well. You know, we've been saying the whole time as we try to mobilize chiropractors and other physicians to come to these rallies, because we've got a big one set up for May 23rd at 12 o'clock. That's a Saturday. And literally, we're going to have folks out there gridlock, driving around. We're throwing a big party. Like, that's what we're doing. I can't really say anything other than that, but it's going to be awesome.
Okay.
And Billy told me to say, we're going to have 1 million people there. So Dr. Billy, 1 million people are going to be there. And like, one of the things we've said is, what good is your license if this goes the other way? Your license doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. No, they're going to just tell you what to do anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and so, you know, I'm kind of one of those people, like, I'm not going to telegraph. I don't believe in telegraphing punches. Right. But, you know, like, I totally stand with you, and I'm of the same mind, and we're trying to get a lot of other doctors that are like-minded, like you, and Dr. Bill and some of his friends that he's called, and some of my friends that I've reached out to show up at the Capitol on May 23rd, and really to just be involved in this movement. Because it's funny how there's a lot of women showing up, mama bears, but I'm like, what are the men doing? There's not football on. Put the beer down, put the remote down, and get your butt out here and defend your children, to your point. And I think that's what you were saying. Like, where are all the guys, man? Where are all the guys that I trained with in the Marine Corps that are saying, you know, no matter what, I'm going to stand on the wall. And even if I'm the only one standing there, you're not going to push me off that wall. You know, and it just amazes me. Like, guys with children, they're just like, I'm worried about my business interest, or I'm worried about this. Your business interest, you can throw it in the toilet if this turns out the wrong way.
That's exactly right. And, you know, I'm not new to this. I've been, you know, I was president of the American Holistic Medical Association with Bernie Siegel back in the 90s. I was on the board in the 80s. And there've been all these doctors who've been murdered. I mean, who sort of disappeared. I always love, well, he committed suicide. Geez, that's interesting, because I saw him 2 days ago and he was fine. You know, Stephen Greer is an emergency room doc, and he did the whole disclosure project. And people have asked Stephen, how is it that you're still alive? He said, I have a kill switch on me, meaning I've got all the dirt on everybody. And if I die, everyone knows that stuff all gets disclosed right away. It just gets sent to the press. And so that's an interesting thought. But at this point, see, they can't pick us off if there's all of us at the same time, because there's so many more of us. So we just have to get people to feel not afraid. And I mean, think about it. I don't know when the Berlin Wall fell, but nobody predicted that. It took one person who started, and then it just becomes bigger and than you can possibly imagine. I think that's what's going to happen with this. I really, really do. where, because there are those people who say, oh, you've got to protect the vulnerable. And
Yeah.
I think it was Candace Owen who said,
Love her, by the way.
yeah,
She's
where
amazing.
she says, my freedom does not end where your fear begins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know. Wow. That's beautiful. That makes sense that would be her. I've
Yeah.
seen that on a lot of signs at some of the protests. Yeah.
Right.
And that's beautiful to know that it's her. It makes so much sense
Well, and
because
here's the thing, you and I
she's
both know,
amazing.
because we understand the immune system and all of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a big fan of Dr. Joe Mercola, always
Oh,
have been.
awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
all of these people who've talked about vitamin C, for instance, Dr.
Yeah.
Shaw, Andrew Shaw, very, very funny. I was listening to a video by him because he talked about all the vitamin C that went over to China, and he was kind of responsible for the fact that it was very hard to get vitamin C for a while, and it can kill all these viral illnesses. And so some guy, I posted this, and it was so funny because someone says to him, the interviewer, so what do you think is behind this, that you can't use vitamin C because, we've got so many studies. I mean, so many studies on it in
Yeah.
orthomolecular.
It's like,
He looks right into the camera. He goes, it's Satan.
wow. I love that.
I thought, well, you know what? That sort of, there's not much you can say. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much you can say when and I believe that darkness, I call it darkness, does exist. And you know how there've been all those vampire movies in the last like 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah.
What I tell people is vampires don't like sunlight. It just makes them disintegrate. So you and I put light on subjects. Vitamin D, if you get your vitamin D level up to optimal, very few people with optimal vitamin D levels have died. Enough zinc, enough vitamin C, enough vitamin D. We are not, everybody, in case you're new to me and Cordie here, we are not advocating allowing people to die from this. And by the way, big doses of vitamin C have anticoagulant activity, because one of the weird things that they see in this COVID thing is hypercoagulability and all that kind of thing, and a cytokine storm. And is it real? Yeah, there's something going on that's real.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of ways to get ahead of it. So, so therefore, I've got vitamin D here. I've got liposomal vitamin C. I want to up my melatonin a little bit. There's just all kinds of things. But that, for you and me, that's a day at the office. That's just what we do, making sure that people's immunity is where it needs to be. Bill Maher did a very, very funny video, and Bill is
he's
very
been
far
putting out
left.
some hysterical stuff, hasn't he?
Really
About
good
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other person is who's that comedian from George Carlin did hilarious
about germs, the one about germs.
About germs. He said, yeah, the reason I'm so healthy is I swam in the East River as a kid. It was full of sewage. He said, you got to give those germs something to fight against.
Yeah, and in between the F-bombs, which as a former Marine, it's not like I've never heard an F-bomb before. You know what I mean? And you could totally hear me in that video, because I was ready to rumble. I was so frustrated at that point. But yeah, George Carlin, what a brilliant man with words.
Really brilliant.
And somebody that really was like, has always had like a message, but tailored to just anybody can understand the way he uses his words, and the common sense commonality of it, right? Of just how he just like these truth bombs, like right there. And it's like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like very eloquent points said in a very raw and real kind of blue collar way.
Exactly. So, and you and I both know the people dying from this, by and large, have underlying conditions. There's no question about it. High blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, so what we should be doing is not tracking and tracing. What I would do, I would want to get have the state pay for a vitamin D level in everybody, get it up to optimal, use the money for that, not $19 an hour on people who are going to come to your door and track you. And I listened, by the way, to that public health thing right out of Ventura County. And they said, if you don't have more than one bathroom and someone tests positive, we're going to take your kid out. Now, I
Yeah.
also, by the way, I've asked my medical colleagues, can someone please tell me what if this test is accurate? It's the PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Well, that'll be positive from any number of things.
Yeah.
So the testing is, as far as I can tell, inaccurate. You might have seen that thing from Tanzania where the president of Tanzania gets all these test kits and tests his goat and a pawpaw fruit, and they both test positive. Or the guy who tests
Okay.
positive in the morning and negative in the afternoon. And you and I both know with any test, even hemoglobin, even a complete blood count. I've had people, like let's say that we had a woman in labor who bled a lot, and you're trying to
Yeah.
decide, should we transfuse her? Well, I had a patient who was so low, we thought she needed transfusion. She goes, give me an hour. Good. She has her friends come in. They do a meditation. She talks to her bone marrow, and we repeat the blood count. Her blood count went up a unit.
So
I
crazy.
mean,
Of
so
course it
what
is.
I'm saying is there is such a limit to testing.
Yeah.
People have been brainwashed. If it's medical, then, oh, I can't possibly know that. I don't have an
Right.
MD or a DC degree. I can't know that. Yes, you can know.
It's
Yes,
innate
you can.
wisdom. It's internal wisdom. And yeah, I agree with you. We've been spoon fed to believe the
Oh,
narrative of like, oh, the research shows this or this says that, or oh my goodness, like I'll never forget. I had a patient in one day, and I was talking to them about vertigo, chiropractic, the cervical curve, getting the
yeah,
brainstem adjusted, right? The
right.
immune system, balancing the inner ear crystals, the vestibular system, all that, right? And well, Dr. Williams, you don't understand. This guy's a board certified. He's an expert on vertigo. He's written 5 books. And I said to her, I lost her the next day as a patient, but I didn't care. I said, I don't care how many books he's written. I'm telling you the truth. And I might have, I don't know, I had stronger language than that, I'm sure. But I said, I don't care how many books he's written. This is the truth. And
Yeah, see that
if you want to
vestibular
continue under
system.
care, great. But I'm not going to let you wear a brace on your neck for your vertigo when we know we can balance the inner ear crystals by giving you a 42-degree curve and taking your forward head back here and getting your head back to the way your
Where it's
creator
supposed
designed
to
it to.
be, and then the
Yeah, exactly.
vestibular system works. Yeah. But
Exactly.
you see, when somebody, as you might imagine, I've had all of the things, you're dangerous, you're this,
Yeah.
unfollow, like, listen, if you want to unfollow me, just do it. Please don't announce it. But most of them, they feel they have to shame you first. They have
Public
to tell
shaming,
you
and then they unfollow you, right?
how ashamed they are of you. That's fine. And some of them, if they're really nasty, I ban them because, like I say to people, I don't let people have their dogs come on my lawn and poop without picking them up. So I'm not going to do that on my Facebook page either. However, good civil discourse, I'm all about it. People who say, I don't believe everything you say, but I always learn something. Terrific. So like you said, red, white, blue, purple, I don't care.
Yeah.
Democrat, Republican, independent, lesbian, bi, trans, I don't care. We are for freedom. I'm a member of MAMM, Millions Oppose Against Medical Mandates. And we want to get 1 million people, again, have as many vaccines as you want.
Yeah.
But the rhetoric, by the way, this really doesn't pass the sniff test. Okay. You need to get your kid 62 vaccines to protect my kid.
Yeah.
Really? Because if
Right.
these worked, why would you be worried?
Amen. Amen.
Why would you be worried? Yeah.
I totally agree. And if you look, I'm an 80s baby. So I just had my 40th birthday. And it's funny because I think there was 24 doses and now there's like 72. And, I'm not here to talk about vaccines, but again, it just goes back to the point.
No, was it
And I'm glad you're talking about it, of
Yeah, when
choice.
they changed the law,
Yeah.
1986.
Like, well, right. It's like we should have choice. Whatever we want to choose as Americans. You want to mask up? Mask up. I don't want to. You want to quarantine? You don't want to come to work? I want to support my family and lead my mission forward of helping my patients that I know we're an essential office, just like your office, and they need what we have now more than ever, because now they're even more immunocompromised because they're drinking their own CO2, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they're a perfect host, because I just innately believe, and my friend Dr. Brad Glowacki has always said this, you know, germs don't kill people, compromised immune systems do.
That's
Right.
the old Louis Pasteur, Antoine Beauchamp.
Yeah.
That is that old dichotomy. And Pasteur, we don't know this for sure, but apparently on his deathbed said, "Hey, Beauchamp was right. It's not
Yeah.
the germ,
Yeah. I heard that
terrain.
too. Yeah.
It's the terrain." And Zach Bush shows that with the microbiome.
I'm
And
going to have to
we
check out Zach Bush.
you've got to check him out.
I
Check
love it.
out the Dell Big Tree, the last one Dell did. And he had Zach Bush on there. Or you know what? I'll just text it to you. But he's wonderful. He's like the new human species.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
he's
looking down.
just wonderful. And he's about regenerative agriculture
Okay.
and restoring the biodiversity of the microbiome. And he points out that the average person in New York has 13% of the biodiversity of someone in Africa. I
Wow.
just heard from a friend who used to go on over to Uganda to help with mothers and children there. And in the village where they went, she said they have no COVID whatsoever. Why? They quarantined the people who were sick. They kept all the people who were healthy out. And she said, it's gone. They don't have it in this particular, because we've never in the world ever have we quarantined the healthy population.
Right.
And this other thing, that keeps the masks on, well, you don't know, you could be spreading the virus and not know.
Right.
And see, this is the same thing with vaccines. You can still spread whatever the disease. People think it makes you that you'll never have a germ on you. No, we need each other's germs. We have to have biodiversity of the virome, of the microbiome. I can tell you as a gynecologist, that's the whole key to reproductive health as well. There's microenvironments throughout our bodies. And there are, I think, 3 times as many bacteria and viruses in our bodies as there are cells. So the key is to be happy with these little buggers. If you use hand sanitizer all the time, what does it do? I don't know, you probably saw Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum goes, you hear the dinosaur, boom, you see the water going like this. And he goes, and the guy goes, oh no, they're all female. Goldblum goes, nature always finds a way. And then you find out those suckers are reproducing. Well, it is the same with the viruses. The more you try to kill the microbiome, all you do is create antibiotic resistant bacteria. And that's what we've done. So now what do we have in hospitals? We have MRSA and we have the Clostridia stuff, all the stuff because we've used antibiotics indiscriminately. And we're moved into the probiotic era now.
Yep.
And that's the microbiome. I just ordered some of the whatever it is that Zach Bush is selling over there on his website to restore the microbiome. And we need to restore our fields, regenerative agriculture, get rid of the factory farms. I don't know if you've seen that wonderful documentary Tomorrow. Have a look tomorrow. It's this group of people in
knowledge. I love it.
Yeah, they were feeling terrible about climate change.
Okay.
So rather than worry about it, they decided they'd send a film crew out and see all the places in the world where they were reversing this. And it's amazing. Also, The Biggest Little Farm, that's in California. You've got to see that documentary, The Biggest Little Farm. After 7 years of replenishing the soil and bringing in different species, they've created heaven on earth. It's one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen. So we're going to get together here in Maine, with some like-minded people who aren't afraid, and we're hugging each other and we're not doing social distancing.
There you go.
And we're going to talk about how is it that we want to live?
Yeah.
How this is going to end. This will end. It's going to end. And by the way, this has been foretold, in all the wisdom traditions. So how do we want it to be? I don't want to go back to what it used to be. I want it to be better.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it will be better. I mean, think about the clothing industry is one of the top polluters on the planet. Fast fashion, all those places where you can go and get a whole new wardrobe for $50. But there are rivers in China running blue from dyeing denim. Those things we don't need. So it's going to be, my vote is with humanity and
I
with
love it.
the humanity of people. I think we will rise up. I mean, the very fact that I see your video, right?
Right.
Then you come in on my Facebook page under something, I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only way I knew how to
thing,
contact you. I was like, I got to
and you go,
contact this
yeah,
woman.
and you go, okay, private message me, and you go, oh, I'm the Marine. Oh God, yeah, good. So then I go over to private message. Never done this before. Give you my cell phone number, my email, and then I tell all my people in my Great Awakening, because I got a little tribe there. I say, hey, this is what happened, and so we're now calling you from my little community. We're calling you our Marine.
Oh, I love it. I'm honored. I'm honored. Well, a bunch of beautiful, open, amazing, natural granola, not to put stereotypes, but
No, but
awoken people and women. I mean, I'm honored, seriously, because, one of the things I think is the most important job out there is being a mother. And I also think it's the hardest.
it
I've really
is.
been acknowledging my wife, and I never do it enough, of course, because I couldn't do what I do without my wife.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like
Well, you
couldn't do it. And
sent
I
me
get
the
emotional
picture.
talking about it. Like she's incredible.
Yeah, and
My
so are
my
your
my
two
wife
little
is.
boys. You sent
Oh,
me that picture.
thanks.
They are
Thanks. Yeah.
beyond adorable, but you are in the thick of it. I mean, you are in
Here's
the thick
here's
of
a
it.
picture you can see in the back there. That's little Cordie, and Reese was obviously in the oven when that picture
Yeah.
was taken.
Oh my God.
And
I love it.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah, but um well, I've really enjoyed today, really have, and it's been such an honor. The only thing that I would say to your viewers and my viewers is, just based on everything Chris and I discussed, what I'd really encourage you guys to do is go online, go on my Facebook page,
Yep.
Dr. Northrup. I'm going to send you a T-shirt. Okay,
Love it.
I'm going to send you a T-shirt, and what I would say, guys, is buy the T-shirts. I think they're like $29. That's just because of where the shipping is at. The whole purpose of the organization is, we chose a flag and we chose a symbol because those are the first 13 colonies, 1776, freedom and choice. We want everybody. This is an inclusive movement. It's not an exclusive movement. Okay. It's inclusive. We want it to be everybody. Political affiliation doesn't matter. Whatever you worship doesn't matter. I just want to be really clear about that. Loving people that want to move forward, want to get back to work. And to Chris's point, to Dr. Northrup's point, people that want to say, hey, you know what? I want America to be even better than it was before. We want you to be a part of our movement. Go on my Facebook page, like and share the scoop video. It's right around 6.9 million. We're trying to push it to as high as we can. If we can get it to 15, 20 million, I'm going to go big, because that's what Dr. Bill would tell me to do. We just want to get it out there. And Dr. Northrup, congratulations on the update of your book. I saw that today.
Yep.
So, I mean, this woman, if you guys don't know, I mean, she is like so accomplished. She's just a humanitarian for freedom and women and people. And I'm just so honored to have you on this interview today, or this conversation that we're having, whatever you want to call it. And I know you and I are going to end up being great friends. Yeah, any way that I can promote you, help you, and even any small way, anything that I can do, ma'am, it's an honor and a pleasure.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
All
thank you
right.
for having me. Well, God bless you. I'll be in touch. And thank you so much for doing this.
Great. Thank
All
you.
right, Chris, have a good day.
Uh-huh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.